Hello everybody, welcome to our live stream, We Work Now. I'm so happy to be calling you all from Toronto, Canada. I am currently back at home for the holidays and excited to do a special Christmas edition, I guess, live stream with you guys. I don't know about you guys, but when I first went home, I was greeted by a very shocking revelation that I still have a lot of things back home that I haven't really put away yet properly. And because the things that I have, whether it be electronics, tech, books, anything it might be, nobody knows where to put them because we don't really have a set place for them, and nobody really wants to bother with moving my stuff around lest they move it to the wrong place, I can't find it anymore. Whatever the reason may be, I realized that if you don't have a very strict and very clear organizational system inside your home, it's actually very difficult for anything to be put in place properly, let alone your stuff, let alone your family stuff, let alone your brothers and sisters, your parents, whoever it may be. I decided that I wanted to completely revamp my home's organizational system so that every single place has a place to go, right? Every single thing has a place to go, as well as making sure that whenever you are putting down something, there's no really mental burden of where did I put this thing, right? Or even when you're trying to find something, there's no mental burden of where can I find this thing, right? So today I want to bring on an adventure of really how I navigated the organizational system in my home and show you some examples of what I've done to my home to make sure that it works as effectively as possible. And then I'm also going to share with you how you can do it for yourself through this beautiful, wonderful tool we called Notion. And hopefully this reaches you in time for the holidays so you have a nice, clean home for Christmas to celebrate. Also, I'm just going to say this out loud first. We have a snowstorm going on in Toronto right now, sweeping across all of North America. If you're affected, please, please, please stay inside. Please take care of yourself. But just in case, I might lose power at some point. If that happens, no sweat, we'll come back on right away. But without further ado, let's get straight into it, all right? So, I have this Notion page called Cleaning Up the House, and really this is where I started when I tried to go and start planning everything. What I realized was I needed a purpose really to start off with everything. And I'm just going to talk honestly from my perspective of what I experienced when I first came home and saw perhaps the clutter that I contributed to, as well as a lot of the clutter that was just inherently there from living in a place for like 10 plus years, right? I'm sure if you have lived somewhere for a long time, it can easily get cluttered as you start putting things everywhere. So the main things are, since we have a multiple story home, we wanted to reduce the number of times we walk up and down stairs to get things from different floors. I'm sure you have the experience, you want to get toilet paper, you're upstairs, you have to go downstairs to the basement, get toilet paper. Or let's say you have tools that you need to build this new IKEA shelf. Well, guess what? The tools are in the garage. So you waddle down and go to the garage and get your tools. What else? Let's say you needed your computer, your laptop charger. All these things are in different places around the home, and I just think that's a bit challenging because that means that you have to waddle up and waddle downstairs or waddle from room to room just to get what you need to get through your day and do the things that you need to do, and I think maybe that could be improved. The second thing is that, as I mentioned, you want to make sure there's less headache when deciding to where to put something. That's a really important thing because oftentimes the cognitive load to actually think about, especially because I just got home and I haven't used any of these things in years. It's been 5 years, 4 years since I've been back to Canada. So I'm like, well, I want to put down something. I want to put down this pen. I want to put down this paper. I want to put down this box. Where do I put it? I have no idea where to put it. And obviously, it doesn't make sense if I have to continuously ask one family member all the time, where should things go? And instead, it should be a more democratized process where everyone knows where everything should go. So again, that's the beauty of Notion, as I'm going to show you soon, is that you can have this table where you can share with your entire family, have this page rather, and everyone can know exactly where things go. And if they want to, they can edit and improve the organizational structure of the home as well. And I think the last thing is make sure we can find things we need within 10 seconds. That was the biggest frustrating thing for me. I'm like, hey, I want this one thing. Where do I find it? Where do I go? And I have no idea where to go. And it takes me more than 10 seconds to find it. I think I timed it on average, took like a minute and a half. And wow, that was just frustrating. It shouldn't be that way, right? If we want to just find something simple, even just a hairpin or a candle, whatever it might be. So I want to make sure you can find things you need within 10 seconds. So I'm going to give you a quick glimpse of what the end result looks like for those people who just want to get straight into it, just jump straight to, hey, what is the end result? How do I get started? I have that for you right now. And I'm going to make sure that you can actually go ahead and follow along if you want to build it together with me. I'm going to do a very quick stream on this. I think the stream should only take around 30 minutes, right? But I'm going to go through the whole process of how I think about my organizational structure, and hopefully this applies well for you as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the end result I have is I have this table where I can see all those different storage locations that are available inside my home. So the first idea is that, hey, there are all these different places you can store things, whether it be storerooms, whether it be, just open area space, bookshelves, closets, whatever it might be. You have different locations where you can store things. And if you don't give them enough attention, you're just gonna shove anything and everything inside them. So I wanna say, let's stop that. Let's have very specific purposes for every single item inside your home, and for every single place, it should have very specific purposes. So for example, if you have, let's say, an entrance closet, right, inside your basement, then it should be for your seasonal gear, right? Anything to do with your coats, your windbreakers, your jackets, your boots, anything that you need when you go out in any season, you should have that ready on hand. You notice I put half, I'll explain that later, but basically I've decided that for my specific use case, we have different places where we might store similar things just because we have different entrances to the home. We have a front door, we have a basement garage door, so we will want to split them in half. But anyway, it really depends on you, those minor unique details. But anyways, so if we move forward, you see I separated everything from the floor that they belong on, right, the items, or the storage location, as well as how frequently we should be using that storage location to go in and grab something, as well as come out and take something else. Because again, not every single thing is easy to access, right? If you have this really Harry Potter closet under the stairs and it's super hard to go in and reach for things, you don't want to go in every single day to get something that you're going to use daily. You want that out in the open. You want that in somewhere accessible. So I also separated them by frequency of use and also sorted by them as such. So it's quite actually a simple table, but I think the most important thing is knowing how to structure your properties whenever you're building anything in Notion. I found that the easiest thing for me to do when I start thinking about things is what kind of types of information do I want to store or do I want to organize about every single entry I'm putting into my table in this case, right, or into my system. So in this case, again, every location needs to have a purpose, needs to have a floor in which it lives on, and needs to have a frequency of use so that I know very, very sure what kind of things should go in, and it helps me inform me on the different ways I should be using this specific item or this storage location. So you can see again, I have a supply closet, we'll put exercise equipment, garage, you'll put your car and bike tools, if you're on the floor, if I'm in a living room, then what would you put there? Board games, stuff like that, going on supplies, if you have to run out really quickly, your car keys and everything should be there. So again, you see it's very, very organized, right? So it makes that, not only you, but everyone else in your family knows where things go, and you don't have to really get frustrated if someone moves something or misplaces something that you don't really know where it goes. Anyway, you can see I also organized the kitchen as well, so what things goes where, which cabinets should hold different things, very important stuff, as well as how frequently you should use them. And you can see I can just keep going on, and at the end I have this thing where I say, hey, where do these things go? Where I'm still kind of planning out hey, we have a lot of suitcases, where should they go? Anything to do with tech boxes, where do they go? Laundry hangers, extra tech gear, files, filing cabinets and stuff like that, jewelry, long-term tech equipment, all these different things are things that you might, still have questions at the end of the day. And this is good because what we do with this is that your system is ever evolving. You're never going to stick with one final arrangement of your system. That's just not how things go. As you get more things that you accumulate in the home, as you get more places to store things, as you start phasing out of certain things, whether it be seasonal changes or whatever it might be, it's important for you to grow with your system. So we always have a section for hey, these are the questions that we have. I have this one thing that I'm holding. I really don't know where it goes within 10 seconds. I don't see a place for it on my table. So therefore, let's discuss as a group, as a family, whoever's inside your home. Let's figure out exactly where we want to put these things so that we can make sure that we're going ahead very intentionally and very carefully so that, again, we can fulfill all those purposes that we set out at the top of the page. So that being the end of my little presentation here, let me show you how you can build this for yourself, because I think it's super important that you know exactly how to navigate Notion for you, and you can make it so that it's very easy for you to do what you need to do any given day. So I'm just going to start by opening a new Notion page, and how you do that usually is you go to the left side of your page. You can see I have a lot of stuff here, but for you can just go to your private space and you can just add a page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this as this is a test. Actually, I don't even call it test. Let's just call it home organizational database page. Okay, home organization page. Let's call it that. And also, of course, I'll open this for anybody who might want to just copy this later on after I'm done with the stream, because I do think it's a very well put together page or template that you can use. But of course, if you want to learn how to do this for yourself, so you can apply this across different organizational things that you might need to do, whether it be not even in your home, whether it be just for your wardrobe, or whatever it might be, this is also going to be a good resource for you to learn how to do that for yourself, so you don't have to rely on templates and whatever. Because I want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to succeed in your life organizational journey. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have our let's say, so first off, what I would do is like, hey, let's figure out your unique purposes first, right? So everyone has their own purpose. So I'm not going to say that I speak for everyone, but the purpose usually is something that you want to identify with everyone inside your family. Like, hey, what is the main thing you guys want to have when you guys go through and organize everything? And actually, I'm going to open up my old page as well, just so that you have this. I have this as a reference. Let's go ahead and do this. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And also what's really important too, I like, is we can set up a table of contents here, so / table of contents. So you can see that you can easily navigate to your purpose and anything else that you build in later on. So that's our purpose, and then later on we're going to start brainstorming. So this is brainstorming, okay? So what types of items do I keep around the home? So this is when you first kind of just start looking around and scanning your environment, and you say, hey, what kind of things am I really storing in my home? Like, how many things do I have that I really want to make sure that they have a place for, right? So this is where you can start brainstorming, whatever you might, right? So let me just give you some examples. Maybe like, okay, well, I obviously have clothes, right? Clothes, I'll have something like that. I'll probably have, cables, right? Cables. I'll probably have stuff like, plates, crockery, right? So let's just call utensils, right? Cooking utensils, etc., etc. And what would be really nice for you is if you can actually start thinking about the stuff that you start laying around that are really loose leaf as well. So stuff that ends up getting everywhere and you don't know where everything is, like hair bands, for example, right? Those. So you just really start thinking about hey, what kind of items do you really keep around? Then your next question is, where can I store items around the home, right? So this is where you start thinking about well, what kind of closets do I have, right? What kind of drawers do I have? What's available to me as storage locations? So when you start putting this down, so for example, dressers, right? Dressers, we might have bookshelves, we might have something that's like a closet, and et cetera, et cetera. Then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and organize these items, especially by their, how easy it is to reach them. So let me go ahead and add one more section. So say how, maybe I can just do it here then. How easy are they to access, right? Right, so then if you say your bookshelves are very easy, right? Your closet is medium, right? And then you might have like a Harry Potter, boiler room. Let's say your boiler room. Your boiler room is hard to reach, right? And dressers are easy, right? And then you start thinking about it that way, right? And then let me also add in some reasons why this is important, because I think if you just saw this and you didn't understand it, or maybe you want to come back to this later, I want to make sure you guys also understand what's important about this. So next, you want to make sure you know what resources you have inside the home to place certain objects. To place your objects and how easy they are and how convenient is it to reach them. It doesn't make sense if you have I'll write this down actually, but even if you have a very organized home, if the things you need are always very far away and hard to reach, that's not efficient, right? So that's one of the big things are very far away. That's not very efficient. And another thing here I'm going to read about, let you know about here is next, find out what categories, right? Categories of objects you want to make sure you are keeping organized in the home. ideally find out how often you would be reaching for them as well. So what kind of items do you keep around the home? Also, how often do I use them, right? So that's also another thing. So clothes, every day, right? Cables, once a week. Cooking utensils, right? Like you can say this is probably, once every day, right? If you are someone who cooks every day. Hairbands, every day. So you can start thinking about those things like, maybe you can have skiing gear, right? This is like what, once every year, right? So if you have a seasonal country, you're not going to be able to use this every single year as well. So again, you can start seeing like how we're really starting to organize everything. And of course, you can organize this in a table as well. You could, but for me, since I will end up with a table anyways, I just decide to go at the end of the day, go direct with my table. So last thing, or the next thing rather, is I'm going to start and go and make another header. By the way, I made that header by doing Control-Shift-2 if you're on a Windows machine. So you can just do that. That's very nice. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and now make sure that I have my next section, which is I'm going to do planning, right? So we have a new table. We're going to do /table, and then we're going to make a new table view, and we're just going to do a new database. And this new database is going to be called storage locations, and this is where we're going to start and put all those different items that we have in here and start mapping out their purposes and what kind of items you want to put in there. So again, as you saw, very simple so far. Hopefully you're still following along. And if not, just ask questions. We're always happy to answer questions here in the community and just happy to help you get started with your own life organizational system. So let's go ahead and make this. I'm also going to go ahead and make a little call out as well, just to help you explain really what's going on here. So next, try to map out all the storage locations you have and pair them with the objects that are most reasonable, right, to put into those spaces. For example, if a location is hard to reach, put things that you would be using on a yearly basis. Likewise, if a location is out in the open, put things that you are using on a daily basis there. Okay, so quite simple and I think quite straightforward as well if you start thinking about it the way I do. Okay. Perfect. So actually, this is bothering me. Let's do it like that. Perfect. So what we have here is our storage locations. So this is the location. Let's also add some sections here. So I'm just going to delete the tags because I want to make my own. So first off, let's say I start moving everything in. A really cool trick I want to show you guys is if you highlight everything here and you hold the Alt button, you can actually make a copy of them, right? And then you can actually drag them straight into here. So that's actually pretty nice. You can just immediately have them already. So what we want to do is I'm just going to show you some some ways that I would do this system. So first I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a select property for the floor that it's on. And for you, it doesn't have to be floor. It could be like room that it's in, right? But for me, since it's more relevant, I'll just put floor. And you can say this is your basement. This is going to be in your, kitchen. Actually, floor is the same as, you can actually just make this actually area maybe instead of floor. Area also works. So basement, kitchen, bedroom, and bathroom as an example, right? So this is basement, this is bedroom. Let's move going for bathroom. So under sink cabinet is going to be the bathroom, right? So then you have an area that it lives in. For me, I really like using the new group feature. So I just put area like this, and then immediately it organizes by my area. And it makes it really easy for me to just see them like as they go, and I can actually just hide this view now. So I can just see like, hey, if I add something directly in here, it's in the basement, of course, right? So quite simple for me. The next thing I want to put is the frequency of use. So I'm going to put a select property, and I'm going to call this the frequency of use, frequency. And here, again, if it's easy, then I would put like, hey, stuff that should be here should be used daily, right? Hard, let's use this yearly. frequency of use, let's call this of use. Okay, and then under sink cabinet, probably weekly. I don't know about you, I don't go into that often. Closet, I would go into that pretty regularly. Let's go on a weekly basis or even a daily basis if your wardrobe is in there as well. And then bookshelves obviously is a daily thing if you want to use them. Actually, this shouldn't be bookshelf. Let's call this cabinets. And you can remove the very easy stuff and the medium stuff and whatnot now. Again, I just use that as my way to start thinking about how the ease of access, but I think the frequency of use will speak to it already. So if you start doing it that way, it's better. So then you have frequency of use, right? But then the most important thing now is to start putting your purpose, right? So you have your text here, and you're gonna say your purpose. So what are you gonna put in there, right? The purpose of this location. So if it's daily and it's your dresser should be in your bedroom, I think. And then your closet, I can just remove just as an example. Cabinets, your purpose is your crockery, right? And that is basically your dishes and stuff. So dishes, bowls, etc. And then your dressers is going to be your undergarments, as an example. And then your under sink cabinet will be your cleaning materials, toiletries, toilet paper maybe, right? And then what I have here is the boiler room, which is probably where you have your yearly stuff. So like once in a year, what would you use? Like, I don't know, like your like extra boxes is what I'd put in there, right? Or like when I put shoes and stuff. Yeah, but see, it's actually very fun, like, how you can start thinking about things. It's like, hey, I have these things that I have a lot of, or even like, a few of these. Where should I put them, right? Like, it's super, super fun to actually think about it this way, because you can really start like putting together a picture of how you want your home to be and how beautiful your home can be as well. So let me just look back into this. Like, so yeah, so you can see, like, I'm just gonna give you back my own examples, right? So you can see, like, we've made it very, very robust, where we have like, hey, a whole recreation area where we're going to put all our gym equipment, yoga mats, dumbbells, table tennis. We're going to have a laundry room where we put our laundry supplies, our cleaning supplies, our mops, our vacuums, etc. Our under our bathroom sink inside the basement washroom is the cat toiletries, right? So anything to do with like scooping cat poop, whatever it might be that you need to do to manage the cats. For your living area, of course, your board games and whatnot, your bedrooms, your everyday clothing. You can see, actually, I want to show you something cool, is that like we have a niche here, which we use for a study. Basically, it's like a little protrusion on the living area. And what we do there is we actually start organizing, like, hey, every single level of our bookshelf, what do we want to put there specifically, right? Because again, bookshelves are big. What do we want to put in there? So as an example, like this brown bookshelf that we have that's on the right side, we put camera equipment on the second, we put tech, cleaning materials on the third. The fourth is any return boxes that we need to do to return any tech that we have. Hubs, keyboard, mouse cables. We have a Wi-Fi and a server down there. So again, it's very, very clear exactly how we're going to use certain parts of our house, and we're going to continuously build on this. We just started this process like a few days ago, actually, and it's already been amazing because we've been able to find things that we haven't found for a long time, which is beautiful. Because like, okay, the way I see it is that you have like a visible clutter in your house, the stuff that ends up on like tables, the stuff that ends up on like your counters, your chairs, whatever it might be. But you also have all the hidden stuff that's hidden inside like a box, inside a closet, inside a boiler room. And those things don't see the day of light for like years. So the goal of this really that I started with and has been very fruitful for me and hopefully for you as well is, we go in with the expectation that there are things that we haven't touched for a while that may not need to be in the place that they are today. There's a lot of experiences that I've had where I was digging and trying to find things, right, within the minute and a half that ended up taking me to find certain things. But I saw things that like certainly were not used for like a whole year, right? Stuff like my winter clothing, right? Stuff like, some like really old, like, Wi-Fi cables, some really old like speakers, like those stuff that you won't take out of storage forever. So where would those things go, and how can you put them alongside other things that are not going to be used as frequently so they don't get in the way of you finding things that you really need at any given moment? I think that's just really the inspiration I started off with, which ended up being like a whole experience for us that really made us really enjoy our home again. Because when you start worrying about where things might go, or worrying about how things, might get lost, and then getting frustrated when, other people in the home can't help you find certain things because they don't know either, like that just seems like, not really in the holiday spirit, at least for me. And I found that as I went through all the things that we do have and organizing them all, I actually got a lot more appreciation for my home, and really felt more at home as well, and just felt more of the togetherness that I think we all should strive to have during a holiday season, as well as every day, in and out as you live through your days. So anyways, I hope that's been helpful for you guys. Like, again, as I mentioned, there's one last thing that we're gonna put here, the where did these go section. So where did these go? I'm gonna throw that in the bottom here, and I say, hey, if you have any last minute, so I'm actually gonna put this section here. If you have any items that you find difficult to place, put them here for now, and discuss, right, with your family members where they might go. With your new organizational system, you'll be sure to have a much easier time finding a home for everything. So then we have a last section. Where do these go? Again, like for my example is like, suitcases, where should they go? What else? Our files, right? Files, etc. So yeah, well, hopefully that was very insightful for you guys, as it was for me. Again, what seems simple, I think, can actually end up being very game-changing for you as you go on and start, really reimagining more organizational things in your life. I think this is a superpower, actually, if you can nurture it well, because when you start figuring out that everything can be organized in your life, again, do it with moderation, right? Don't overdo it, but do it with the intent that you're making life better. You're making it so that you don't have to think so much when you're starting to put things away. You don't have to think so much when you're starting to find something. And you actually focus your brain power on, up-leveling yourself, right? Figuring out how you can be a better person day in, day out. And all these mundane things get automated out because you have a system to manage everything that you need to do and you want to do. So I think that's it for me. I'm gonna hopefully see you guys in the new year. I'm really excited. I have a lot of exciting traveling planned, this holiday season. I've already seen a lot of you guys in San Francisco, so I'm very happy about that. Hopefully, as I continue traveling around North America, seeing friends, family, I'll see you guys as well. If you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to join into the community and ask us questions. We're all a friendly bunch. We all love to help and serve and just see how we can help each other grow and level up every day. So yeah, don't be shy, come in. And I think that's it. Have a wonderful holiday season. Have a wonderful start to the weekend. Again, stay safe if you are in a wintry, snowy country. And bye-bye.